Alright guys, welcome back to Really Been Gaming and into my quick review of Clanfolk, or at least the demo for Clanfolk anyway. The full game is due to be released by the end of this year at some point apparently. No confirmed release date that I was able to find as yet though, but this is the demo of the game. First thing I'd like to say is the developer's a big Steven Gypsy bastard because he's obviously jumped into my dreams and into my head and into my thoughts and stolen my game ideas. Not that I'm in any way capable of developing a game, but if I was to develop a game, this would be the game that I was going to develop, a game about the Scottish Highlands and the clans. So kudos to him. He's had a great idea and one that I think someone should have done long before now, but he's done it, and let's have a look at how he's done it, how well he's done. Right, so first of all, talking about the graphics and options, there's very limited graphics options as you can see. You can change your resolution and a few very basic settings, and that's all there is to it. Not a real big deal about that because it's just a sort of 2D RimWorld type looking game anyway, so the graphics aren't a major issue, and most people with any kind of remotely capable or even old PC should be able to run this no problem at all. Looking at the graphics themselves, they're really nice, I thought. Very sort of cute and quirky, very unique style to the graphics, and I think very cute and quirky graphics, and I think they've got a really unique style to them which I think works really well actually, and I actually think they look better in the way that they work than even the likes of RimWorld or Going Medieval, which obviously it's quite similar to as well. The backgrounds are all fairly pretty, all the ground and the water and trees and grasses and all that, they're all very well done and they look quite nice. The character models, me personally, I think they're a little bit disappointing. They're the one aspect of the graphics that I think could have been done better. There's no real animations to them or animations to the jobs they're doing, but overall I think the graphics are functional. They work for what they are. They could be better, don't get me wrong, not the best at all, even for this style of game, but they're perfectly functional and they do the job, and there's a certain charm to them that other games maybe don't have. Sounds, on the sound, the sound's pretty good. The good atmospheric sounds, good background sounds of nature, the animals going about, sounds of the work going on, specific to what work is being carried out on screen. The closer in you zoom, the louder the sound for that specific job gets, all that kind of thing. Sound of the rain and everything all sounds quite good. The music is nice and atmospheric and it's pleasant to listen to, and it's reasonably appropriate in that it's fairly time period appropriate. It sounds like ancient music. My only problem with the music is it isn't really specifically, it doesn't give a feel of Scottishness to it. It doesn't give a feel of you're in a game about the clans, you know, where's the bagpipes, where's the Scottish sounding music. The music at times I almost found it sounded almost ancient Russian rather than ancient Scottish. That might just be my ears, but that was the impression I got of it at times. So yeah, the sounds generally are quite good, but I think the music could be better, to be fair. It could be more specific to the genre that's being created, to the setting that is being depicted within the game, i.e. more Scottish sounding. And that's a wee bit of a theme that runs throughout my review here as well actually. So onto the gameplay. Starts off with a really good, nice sort of clear tutorial to begin with. Takes you through all the basic steps, some really good hints and tips on how to get your wee colony started, your wee clan started. But after a few sort of very, very basic steps, introducing you to those very basic things at the start, it kind of throws you straight in after that, and as you build a couple of things you start to get build this next, wee tutorials, build this next, start to get thrown at you in quick fire, and it can actually be a little bit overwhelming, especially for someone who's maybe new to this type of game. I think a lot of players, if not most players, will probably need to go through numerous restarts before they start to get a real sort of feel for how to play the game and how to really sort of grow their wee clan in an effective way, so to speak. There's obvious comparisons with the game with the likes of RimWorld and Going Medieval, but in my opinion there's a much nicer aesthetic to this game. There's a much nicer aesthetic to Clanfolk. It's very in-depth already, even in this demo. I mean, it's clearly going to be more so in the full game over the demo. It'll be interesting to see just how far the full game does go with depth-wise, because to be honest, in 10 days, the 10-day demo, I found that I was well over halfway down the existing tech tree. I don't know if that's going to be the full tech tree that's in the main game, the full game one upon release, but I found that I was well more than halfway down the existing tech tree, and that was only in a couple of playthroughs. I'm sure sure when I play it 2 or 3 more times I'll get even further down that tech tree. So that's within 10 days. I'm hoping there's a bit more than that to it when it comes to the full game, and I'm fairly sure there will be. I love how the tech tree and the research works right enough. I love that there's no sort of putting points that you gain, experience points or tech points or research points, into any specific things to research what you want to research. It's all done in a much more organic way, in that when you use a specific item or build a specific item, that leads to the knowledge and understanding of that item, leads to then creating new items, and if you like, researching new items or opening up new items in your tech tree. I find that's feels a lot more natural and organic than the likes of something like RimWorld or going medieval, where you've got to build a research bench and research specific things. I think especially for this time period, and back when this is set in the days of their clans building mud huts and things like that, I think that's a lot more, in my mind, realistic way to go about it. There's some great quality of life options within the game as well, the likes of being able to set up most of the consumable options to sort of keep this amount within stock. So you can set it to have 20 eels, so your wee guys will always look to try and keep 20 eels in stock, for instance, that type of thing. Great wee quality of life things like that in the game, which can make a lot of difference to the fun and enjoyment of playing the game, rather than running out of something and realising that you've frantically got to build what you need instead. The UI itself I found was really good, really basic, but really clever and clear and intuitive, and it was different enough from other UIs and other similar games that it felt quite unique. I think it took a fairly different approach to its UI than I've seen in other games of this type of genre. Obviously, like I say, it's very in-depth, the amount of detail and information that you can get. There's stuff like moisture in the air, fertilisation, growth rate, flammability of things, various other stats and levels as well, fishing levels and stats, all these kind of things that are available. Not really able to utilise and explore them properly in the demo, it's too short before you get into that amount of depth, but obviously that will come into play more in the full game. One complaint I did have about the demo is the map size. Currently for me it's far too small for my liking. I would like a much bigger map, or the option at least of a much bigger map, but hopefully that's something that will change for the full game. Ideally I'll have several map sizes that you can choose from, or options, obviously map options that you can choose from, but I hope there's an option for a much bigger map. I think the size of map was very, very limiting for a full game basis. Fine for the demo, absolutely fine for the demo, but looking at it as a full game, I would like there to be a much bigger map with more going on in it, more wildlife, etc, etc. Again, one of the biggest things for me with the game is I would prefer there to be a little more of a Scottish taste, a Scottish flavour to the game. It's a game about the clans, and I would like it to feel more like that. At the moment it still feels a little bit too much of a RimWorld or going medieval clone type game, in that it doesn't really feel specifically like you're a Scottish clan. Alright, you've got a tartan and a plaid, but that doesn't really come into it at all. So I would like things like when you're setting your clan up to begin with, to be able to choose your own tartans, maybe to be able to choose real tartans, real clan names. So for instance, obviously I'm Scottish, I would love to be able to play the Graham of Montrose clan with the Graham of Montrose tartan in the game. That for me would be brilliant, and it would make the game a lot more realistic, I suppose, if you like. Obviously there's only a certain amount of realism you're going to get, but it would make it a lot more historically realistic, if you like. I'd like to see some sort of inter-clan trading and warring going on as well. The old clan wars are a historical huge thing within the clan system in Scotland, and the old clan infighting and attacking each other was a massive part of the clan history in Scotland. So again, it's not got that in the demo, but that could just be that it's a demo thing, and because it's not the full game, I'm fairly sure it will be that. Hopefully when the full game does come out, it'll be bigger maps, maybe even multiple maps, a big sort of globe size region, not globe size but Scotland size region, if you like, more like sort of RimWorld, where you can choose multiple different maps to access with different clan territories, interfighting between clans, maybe even some kind of system of raising your clan leader to kingship over the region of Scotland or something like that kind of thing. That could be really, really interesting, I think. Obviously there's a lot more to the game than can be explored in a 10-day demo, but hopefully when the full game does come out, it is a lot bigger and more in-depth and what it currently have been able to explore within the demo. To be fair, there's already more in the demo than you can explore in 10 days, but I think when you expand that into a full game, it's not enough at the moment, so hopefully there's quite a bit more depth to come there yet, and I'm sure by the sounds of it there probably will be. But overall, even in its demo form as it is the now, I've got to say this is probably my new favourite game at the moment. To be able to build up a wee Scottish clan is something I've wanted to do in gaming for as long as I can remember, pretty much. Like I say, if the developers was to have jumped into my head and plucked out a game idea, this would have been it. I recently got Going in Medieval actually on the Elite store with the voucher, the £10 off voucher, so it only cost me £6 in their sale, which was really good. But I've got to be honest, I discovered this at more or less the same time, and I've barely touched Going Medieval because this to me just strikes a note much more so, or strikes a potential note, should I say, much more so. And touching on that, the whole Going Medieval and RimWorld thing, finally what I would like to say is a big kudos to the developer guy. I think it's only one guy by the sounds of it from what I'm seeing in the forums and whatnot. I could be wrong, but I think it's only one guy, Min-Max Games Limited. But a big kudos out to him for releasing this as a demo, and hopefully he's not going to release it as early access. It's going to be a demo and then a full game release. That's what I would like to see happen, because as much as I've not got a problem with early access, I understand the good of it. I think it's way too overused in the industry now, and there's a lot of developers just sort of take the piss with it, to be honest. I think there's a lot of developers that are abusing the early access model and taking money and then running with it. Obviously not all, some of them use it really well, but even for those using it really well, there's just far too many games for me coming out in early access where you buy a game and you're waiting for monthly or quarterly or whatever updates till you finally 2-3 years later get the actual game that you were wanting to buy in the first place. So fingers crossed when this does get released at the end of this year, or maybe start of next if it carries over. I don't know what stage he is in his development, but hopefully when it does release, it releases in a full complete state. Even if he adds things to it over time, that's fine, as long as it's a full released, play it as it is game with loads and loads of content, and I'll be happy with that. So overall for me, this is most definitely an aye. I've got no qualms in recommending this game at all. So if you're in any way into survival games, colony builder games, get yourself onto Steam, get the demo, get playing this, and get wishlisting it, give the developer some support, because I think this has potential to be an awesome wee game. It really does. I just hope, like I say, that he makes it a little bit more Scottish than it currently is. It's a game about clanfolk of the Highlands of Scotland. Let's feel it being Scottish and hear it being Scottish and see it being Scottish. Thank you very much to Min-Max Games for bringing this out. It's a wee gem of a delight for me, and hope you guys enjoyed the review. Give the channel a like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that nonsense, and I shall catch you in the next one. Cheers.